So let's get into it today. I have some slides. Okay, so we're going to start with the self-fulfilling fears. Be nice to me. That's a big one. And even if you're not lead TE, you're still going to have this one. Be nice to me. Everyone hates me and no pain ever. And, you can really do the math very quickly. And what this is coming from is this the wording that I've heard lately. I had a friend spell it out to me who has masculine savior FI. And they were like, you really are constantly over accommodating. And I'm like, yeah, that is accurate. Like, why am I constantly over accommodating? So when you're DE, this is a pretty easy one. You're looking at life through the lens of the other person's perspective. And if bad emotions causes trauma, like PTSD level trauma, sometimes, depending on how bad it gets, right? You will get, it feels like you're getting drugged, not a positive drug, a very, very toxic drug. It feels like you're getting drugged, and then you lose the capacity to be in your thinking mind, which feels stable. It feels healthy. It feels stable to be in the capacity of your thinking mind. And therefore, no bad emotions, please. I will do whatever it takes. And I'm constantly watching the other person and going, they need this, they need that. They're asking for this. They are asking for that. What are you trying to get at? What are you trying to do? Where are you going with this? What do you need? What will make you happy? There's so many questions that the TE has for the tribe constantly. Please be nice to me. Please don't hate me. No pain ever. If they're unhappy, they're going to not like me. And it's like, why do you need that? It's like, well, if your brain is constantly pinging off of that other person and then they're gone and they're not there, then you are left alone. Now, there's extreme peace in that. That's why the EJs will run to the forest and get the cabin in the woods, because eventually they're like, I don't know who I am anymore. I've lost all sense of self, because every time there's another person in the room, I'm only serving their needs. I'm only listening to them in my head. So eventually you get to the point where you're like, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't think I like who I am, because I'm just trying to serve this other person's needs. So it's a whole process where you're just obsessed with what's going on with the other person at the sacrifice of the self. Okay. That is what's constantly going on. So let's go to the next slide here. Now there's different versions. If you have masculine TE, where you're shoving with logic, but this is how you see yourself, is this feminine wallowing, drowning in sorrow, emotional state. Like, this is how you see yourself. And this is how the tribe sees you, as probably sometimes even overconfident, when you're not necessarily overconfident, right? I don't like this image, but I just grabbed these from the feminine and masculine. This is not the greatest image for feminine TE, but just look at it as like movable and people serving, right? Where you're constantly trying to be accommodating for the tribe. But you have this like little pissed off, raging fire monster inside. My friend calls their demon masculine FI Rambo. Like, this is what's underneath there. Like, okay, you got to be over accommodating, because what you don't want ever to come out is this rage monster. So this is the automatic. This is what it looks like. This is the over accommodating. And I think what gets frustrating is that people are like, well, I didn't ask you for that. And it's like, the thing that I see a lot of times is like, yeah, actually you did. I need to make sure you have the oxygen mask on you first before I'm ever allowed to serve myself, and I'm ever allowed to go even ask myself. It's not even on purpose. This is an unconscious automatic program. Unconscious automatic program that you have no idea that you're even doing for the sake of getting some kind of approval constantly. And our value is held in the skills that we can do for others. And that's the obsession, right? Second problem here is, yeah, but how are you feeling? And so that's what gets really difficult. Because if being over accommodating for somebody in the moment sacrifices your feelings about something, you now are very stuck, because you have not protected your own self. You're not asking your own self, how do you feel? You're not asking your own self, did you even want that? You're not asking your own self. I have double activated FI. So it's not that I can't access my FI. I absolutely can. And when I stop and I go look at that FI, I absolutely can access it, right? But there's that fear of this conflict, of the split between the two of them. And when it comes to somebody in my face asking me for their needs to get met, whether they even realize they're doing it or not, I'm obligated to still mirror them and make sure that their needs are met. Now, let's say you have save your sleep. You may know your feelings. You may be aware of that. But what can also happen is that you would then do the cabin in the woods situation where you're isolating and hiding from people because there isn't this ability to cross the bridge. There isn't this ability to go back and forth and back and forth until the tribe and your own needs are resolved. Now, hopefully you have people in your life that can play that game with you. Like, my friends are amazing. My friends are really amazing, and they are very patient with me, and they want my needs to get met, and they already know my inadequacies. And so they already automatically know, did you really sign up for this? Did you really want to do this? Or are you just lying to yourself? Because I feel weird energy in you. Like, my friends are that great, you know? And it's important, I think, to keep people in your life where they know you're going to be playing this weirdo game. Like, hey, I'm sorry that it's going to be really difficult for me to sort out whether I'm just doing this for you or I'm just doing this for myself and being selfish, or I'm listening to the two and sorting it out. Because when you have those deciders on the polls, you can't hear one and you can't hear the other once you're in one or the other, right? And so the game then becomes listening to this person that is inside of you, listening to whether they're frustrated, listening to whether they're hurting, listening to whether they're upset, and also working through it long enough to recognize that you are still the one in the captain's chair. Like, this is still no one else's responsibility. Nobody made you do whatever you are doing. And that's really hard to get on board with. You are just as allowed as every savior, double masculine activated DI out there. You are just as allowed to pull the e-brake for your own emotional state as anybody else is. That's the thing that you have to be able to give to yourself. You are allowed, but you have to be able to give that to yourself. And the weird thing about the DEs is why the DEs will get trolled so much or made fun of so much, is that they think that the power is still coming from outside of themselves. And you can see it where people will peacock. I can't tell you how many EJs I see peacocking how good they are at their DI. So that's a good sign, right? Especially us flexy ones. You don't even know. I'm so good at my DI. I'm constantly going against the tribe. You don't even know how good I am at going against the tribe. Like, why are we talking about this? Okay, why are we talking about this? And then the same thing goes for the opposite side, where somebody is, some EJ is in the state of being humbled, where they're like, I feel like I'm not allowed. Nobody cares about me. I'm constantly doing all this other stuff for other people and nobody's listening to me and nobody cares. And like, that's the other side, right? So you have these two extremes that are still coming from the same fundamental fear of, I can't just go straight towards accessing self and giving self permission to ask myself, how do I feel today? Even when there are people in the room, even when there are people in the room, you don't need to go to a cabin in the woods or hide. I hide a lot. I mean, the amount I hide is crazy. You know, people think blast blasts are so horrible at getting back to people. It's like, if I didn't get back to you, it's because I'm hiding. Because I'll feel a certain way and I won't speak up for feeling a certain way. And I'm dealing a lot with that this week. I'm really processing a lot this week on how much I'm doing that constantly, right? Not listening to go, you know what, I think I don't like something and I'm afraid to talk out in a calm, normal manner what I don't like and how I can start setting some boundaries for myself, right?